What is up? We're live in Credo Collective and on YouTube because, hey, I got that approved to go live on YouTube.
There you go.
This is my first YouTube live ever. So if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe channel. If you're watching on Credo Collective, which nobody is yet, hey, what's up? If you're watching the replay, let me know where you're tuning in from. All right. So actually, I'm going to do a little countdown, 20 seconds, let people hop on. See you in a minute. See you in 30 seconds, half a minute. Ready? All right, we got some people joining us live. What's up, you guys? All right, I'm excited. Here's the deal. I have a little bit of debt in my life. Hold on, I have to clean my counter. I'm coming from my kitchen and I got water on my computer. All right, so I've been stressed about two things in my life. My debt, which is student loans and IRS debt, okay, from a year of stupidity. So those two things have been a stressor point for me. I now have worked through and all the IRS debt stuff. I've got a plan. I'm good to go. And then John told me about how I could have help with my student loans. And so I want you guys to hear some testimonials. Have you ever gotten those calls? And I think I get a call every other day, John, on a spam call about we can help you reduce your student debt. And I ignore all of them because I don't trust scammers and all that stuff. So, but you found a company that's really making an impact for people. And literally, I mean, wiping away massive amounts of student loan debt for people. And so I know you have a couple testimonials of people that have gone through this process. And so I would just love for you to share. I think I asked out there in Credo Collective how many people have student loan debt. And there was quite a few that are ooh, I have a lot. And most everyone I chatted with has federal student loans. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us a little bit about what this program is and why this is different?
Well, and let me kind of start with that piece. And thanks for having me on today, because that's the big thing. I mean, it's all about knowing how money works and understanding what's available out there. And we always hear this stuff. And we live in a world, unfortunately, I get those same calls you do. It's unknown number. It just even says spam before you even answer it anymore. And so we've become jaded just as a culture, especially when it comes to finances. So you see this stuff, and all of a sudden what happens, though, unfortunately, we shut down and just tune everything out. Too good to be true, da-da-da-da-da. Well, that's not something you want to do when it comes to money and finances. Always kind of keep one ear open and listen to this stuff. And so I do financial planning. And one of my big things is I'm working to serve middle America, right? You and I, the working class out there trying to make it happen, because we don't get access to this. We don't get access to money and whatnot. So I'm constantly looking for different providers that can help our clients. And we came across one that's been doing this for 10 years. And we've all heard about loan forgiveness and this, that, and the other. And, oh, man, I hope they put it through. Well, loan forgiveness in the student loan world has been around for a while. It has. I mean, and people are like, well, what are you talking about? I didn't know you could do that. Well, there's the student loans for police officers. They've got a forgiveness program. Teachers, there's also a forgiveness program there. But as far as a mass one, there's been one around. It's kind of a sleeper program, just like those other two. Under the PAYE, Pay As You Earn program. Okay. Now, the key is the reason this isn't advertised, and I want to go into a little bit of that, is because of banks make a big business out of converting your government loans to private loans. The government can't do anything about private loans, nor are they going to hurt the bankers that are their buddies. Whole other conversation. So that's kind of the program. So there is a program available for federal student loan programs, federal student loans only, though. Okay, so that's the big thing, and it's under the PAYE program. But you've got to have some requirements. Number one, do you have over 15, 20,000 in student debt? Because it's a longer program. You want to make sure that you've got enough to take advantage of it. So they're really only looking at loans above that. And it's got to be federal student loan debt, with Great Lakes or Navient or, any of those 5 servicers right now, which are all consolidating down into one.
So I just saw the other day, I'm with Navient. I just saw that come, I think, January or February, they're switching to something else. Do you know about that?
Yes, that just came out 2 weeks ago. So so basically what's happening is all of the federal loan servicers, and Navient doesn't own your loan. Great Lakes doesn't own your loan. They're just servicers. They're just collecting the payments on behalf of the government, right? So what they're doing is, due to consolidation and maybe it's some service level issues as well, the government's kind of pulling that all under one. They bid on contracts just like anything. We'll service the loans for less. So they're consolidating down into one student loan servicing organization.
Okay, so that doesn't mean mine's converting from federal to private.
No, it does not. What that means is you're just going to send your check to somebody else. Same thing happens when you do your mortgage servicer change. That happens to a lot of people, right? Nothing changes, just who you're sending your check to.
Okay, perfect. I just want to clarify that. Okay, so if somebody has over 15 to 20,000 in student loan debt, P.S. if you're in the comments here, if you're watching live or replay, just put like a little money sign in the comments if you're one of those, right? And you have federal loans. Some of you don't know that. If you do, if they're federal or private, we can look that up for you. But if they fall in that category, you had somebody that went through this program that really it changed their lives, really, right?
Yeah. I mean, you think about it. Student loan debt is the universities and colleges have almost become a business of themselves, right? And so it's a situation where the costs just keep going up and up and up, and everybody's going and racking up these big student loans. Some people more than other, but it's tough to save for college. And then all of a sudden you want to go to college. What do? You take out loans. So we had a client, I've had several, but we've got a lot in the pipeline right now. But her specifically, I'm not going to release her name, but she had $320,000 in student loans. And some of you are like, yeah, that's about what I've got. Some of you are like, oh my God.
Weight of like, I'm never going to pay this off.
That was her statement. That was literally when we sat down with her. She's like, well, that's going to be with me for life. Cause literally it's a house. It's a nice house too. $302,000 or $20,000, excuse me. And we were able to, walk her through the program. Does she qualify? Yes. Check. And so we actually sat her down with the provider and one of their counselors, and they actually looked at it. So, okay, here's the information we need. They actually pulled up her student loan paperwork, so they've got access to the government system, and said, okay, here's where we're going to take advantage of this program. Short and long of it, they reduced her payment, and she was paying, I think, $500, $600 a month on the loan, which was going to take literally forever. But they actually reduced it down to a 0 monthly payment, which that's the case in about 90% of the people that come through the program. And the in debt went from $320,000 down to $18,000. Yeah. And so, it's like, oh my gosh. Now I know a lot of you.
I mean, can you guys imagine? Like, I want you to feel this for a second. You basically owe, what it would cost you to buy a house in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Some places not. Right. And then down to a cheap car. Yeah. Like the weight off that woman's shoulders and an extra $500 a month to be able to have freed up. That's amazing. That's incredible.
Well, and so the response typically, and I'm sure some of your listeners are, oh, it's too good to be true. They're never going to do that. Why would they do that? Why haven't I heard about it? Well, number one, they're not going to advertise it. Okay, because if they advertise it, the people with the private loans get upset because it's not for them. So who do they get it mad at? The banks and government, right? So the other piece is the fact that just because you don't know about it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Right.
And so, that's why we walked through, and I vetted the company, who sat down with them, and we went, they've been in business for over 10 years doing specifically this for their clients and whatnot. And they've got a relationship throughout our company with other agencies and whatnot. But it's all about taking advantage of that system. And well, how can the government afford to do that? You got to keep in mind, they print the money. So, I mean, that's they can do whatever they want to do. Now, the other argument is, well, I borrowed the money, I should take advantage of it. That's great. And I can acknowledge that. But But if everybody else is taking advantage of it, how far is that going to keep you behind?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a government program for all Americans if you know about it and follow the paperwork. And so that's what we do with our provider, is actually process the paperwork. And it's not an overnight process. It's not like you wake up and there's $18,000, you know, down from 320. It's a program you've got to participate in over a period of time, and they manage that relationship to make sure that everything's filed correctly and this, that, and the other. And you requalify for that zero payment every year too, because they've got to requalify you for that as well. And a lot of people on the other side too, and I'll let it go after this, is I make too much money for that. I make too much money for that. As long as you make less than, as a single filer, less than $140,000 a year, you'll qualify for that lower payment, that zero payment. Okay, still qualify for the program regardless. Now, what if you're married and have kids? It's $30,000 in income per each household member, up to 5. Okay, so income really isn't a play on this. It's available. Take advantage of it, and at least find out if you qualify for it, and go from there.
And, you know, to that point of like, oh, I don't want to take advantage of, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Smart business people take advantage of this tax code.
Yes.
Right. Like and I'll tell you guys, my old accountant who didn't know how to handle network marketing, solopreneur income, on the same income with her in 2016, I owed $45,000. Now 2020, a different accountant did a similar income. I made actually a little more in 2020 than I did then. And I got a return.
Yeah.
Went from owing 45 to getting a return on the same revenue because of somebody understanding tax law and being able to take advantage of that. So it's the same thing here, right? Like, you're going to link up with a company that understands this program and how to make it work for you. Question from Emily Burke: does it affect your credit score?
That's a fantastic question. So I want to be crystal clear. This is not a restructure. You know, it's not something where, hey, we're going to settle for less, so it's going to trash my credit. Not at all. This is a true forgiveness. So it's literally, you met your requirements. Your payment was zero for X, period. You met your requirements. This portion, or, the vast majority, whatever the amount is forgiven. So it doesn't show up. Now, a bonus on that, one of the things that student loans prohibit people from, it throws their DTI out of whack when they go to buy their first home. Okay. Because they have this huge debt, and I can't buy a house now because I've got to pay off this, $320,000 student loan. Because you met the requirement, you can actually get your payments down to zero. You can actually have papers from the servicer saying, no, they're meeting the requirements, their payment, they're not in forbearance, their payment is actually zero. Show that to your provider, and that should impact in a positive way your ability to buy a house as well. So no, it does not affect your credit in a negative way.
Awesome. That's awesome. Any other questions from those watching? Pop those in here. If you're watching on the replay, we will respond to you. I think, John, you're in my group, so we can help out with that. And then, the other thing, the forgiveness piece, like you said, it's not like a consolidation, right? It's not that we're writing off, this portion of the debt. It's actually forgiven by the government. And, I know there's, to compare a little bit, because I have had lots of experience with the IRS. There were programs where, like, people would try and work with my IRS debt, and like, I owe way less and all this stuff. And it was all like, felt scammy, felt out of whack, blah, blah, blah. Then I hired an IRS attorney that helped me really put something together. And with her, she was like, no, it's very clear. Like, you can't negotiate how much you owe if you're paying in payments, only if you're going to do a lump sum. But even with the IRS, they will say, hey, if you can, their program is, if you can pay, you can negotiate with an attorney and say, if you can pay this amount, we'll forgive the rest. Right. And so essentially they're doing that, where it's government wide, and it's not a one lump sum like it would be with the IRS, but to say, like, if we can make this agreement, we forgive this. Right. Is that correct?
So it's a period of payments over 20 years. It's a 20-year program, right? That's why you want the company managing it. And you go through it, and they negotiate the payment down. They bring all of your loans. They're all coming under one servicer now anyway. So prior to, they bring you under one servicer just for ease of use, and the fact that we don't want to do a nickel and dime on all of these different programs. But it's not a consolidation in what you were talking about, like, or what we were talking about earlier, going from government to private. Okay, I tell people never consolidate your government loans into a private bank, because you lose the opportunity to take advantage of programs like this, right?
Yep.
But yeah, it's not going to have a negative impact on your credit. Your overall payments lowered significantly. Like I said, 90% are down to zero each month. Mm-hmm. And then, at the end of it, you're going to have anywhere from, 60, 70, 75% forgiven off the total loan balance.
Amazing. So, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do people do if they want to take advantage?
So that's a great question. So number one, it's super easy to get, in touch with Wendy. You guys know how to get in touch with Wendy. Just reach out to her. She and I are working kind of behind the scenes. Reach out to Wendy via messenger or whatever, however you get a hold of her, and just simply say, hey, I'm interested in the student loan program. I'd like to find out more. Here's what my balance is. Here's my contact info and best way to get a hold of me. Right. And that's it.
And current provider, right?
Current provider, correct. How much I owe and who that's to. And then what'll happen is in about 4 days, we're going to put you in touch with our provider. You're going to get a call from out in California. So it's an 818 number. So if you see an 818 pop up, take the call. And they're going to sit there and walk you through. They're going to schedule a time that's convenient for you to walk you in depth on the actual details of the program, how it all works. Like I said, they'll pull up your actual student loan paperwork and show you in your paperwork that none of us read, that the program's there and how to take advantage of it. And then they're going to walk you through their program and how that all works with them.
Awesome. Super simple.
Super easy. Super simple.
Yep.
And folks, again, the money's there. It's just take advantage of it. You didn't know about it. So now we're sharing that news. Take advantage of it. Mm-hmm. I mean,
And how much more can you give and take stress off of you if you can take advantage of a program like this? That money, that burden of those loans does more to us than it's more than just the financial piece, right? There's a whole mental piece behind that. And so I know for me, like with my tax stuff, even though my payment plan is ridiculous amount of money per month, I know I can make that money. So I'm like, at least I have a plan and I know I'm in the clear. Like I stick to this and I'm good to go, and there's so much peace in that. And so,
even beyond that, looking at, okay, say you're paying $400, $500, $600, $700 a month on your student loans. What what could that be doing for you for your retirement and stacking wealth for your household?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what we do from our perspective. It's like, okay, my whole job when I sit down with clients is to show them and move their money around to get it working smarter for them. So rather than paying student loans forever, it's $700 a month. Take that $700 a month and put it towards your nest egg for the future. And compound that for you over 20 years, 30 years. Right? So
instead of not really making a dent in the
and net each month, your bills have not gone up. I mean, so that's what we're trying to do. And that's, again, it's like the game of life, the board game, right? If you don't know the rules, you're never going to win that game. And what we're trying to do is teach people how the money rules work. So.
Yep. Love it. Thank you, John.
Yep.
Just so you guys know, I trust this guy like crazy. I'm invested with what he's got going on. In fact, I just started my new, I'm actually saving for retirement now. So excited. But John, I trust him. He's super knowledgeable, super honest. And I'm excited to be working with him and helping you guys on this, whoever wants to take advantage of this. So just reach out to me. Like we said, reach out to me, give me the balance that you owe, your contact info, so these people can get a hold of you, and who's servicing or providing for your loan. And we will get you connected. All right, guys. Thanks, John, for being here.
Thanks for having me, Wendy.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.